If you knew you had another 30 years to live, would you still be playing the same game? You don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore, right? You've got to that point where all that doesn't matter. You need to decide what kind of game do you want to play now. Hi, and welcome back to What If You Live to Be 100. I'm Sanjay, and today I want to talk about a shift in how we think about life, especially in this next phase. Let me start with a simple question, and this is something which I asked towards the end of the last episode as well. If you knew you had another 30 years to live, would you still be playing the same game? Not just professionally, of course. What I'm talking about is not just what you do at work. I'm thinking about your entire life, how you spend your time, the purpose, success, where you derive joy from. In the last episode, we also talked about longevity, the whole reframing of the concept of longevity. Not to think of it as borrowed time, but as a real second innings, a chapter with its own identity, not just a postscript to an existing chapter. So today I want to explore the kind of game we play in that new chapter. See, as we know, in the first half of life, it was all structured. I mean, we study, we work, we build, we climb, we provide, and everything of that had metrics, had scorecards, had evaluation. There was always numbers which ruled us. And not just that others were evaluating us, we were evaluating ourselves. Am I in the right place? Should I be ahead? Where should I be by now? Well, all that was fine at that time. It was needed for us to sort of set a pace, and it helped us navigate. But at this point, do we still need those kinds of metrics? Or can we pause and ask, do I want to still keep playing that game, or should I be shifting and changing? Well, as far as I'm concerned, I have seen a shift in myself. For example, let's take the idea of reading books. So for the longest of time, when I would read important business books, personal development books, I would meticulously underline all kinds of texts in it because I thought they were important, and maybe I would go back and read. And now when I read, I almost never bother to underline. It's not that the content is less useful. It's just that I absorb it, I enjoy it, I just feel it. Or let's take walking. I spoke about it in the last episode that I explore, Mumbai city by walking. So earlier when I started, I was obsessed by numbers, my speed, the distance I covered, and whatnot. Now when I walk, all that doesn't matter. I just walk to enjoy the walk, to experience the city. So that shift from measuring to experiencing. And this is what Simon Sinek in his book, he calls it going from a finite game to an infinite game. In a finite game, you're playing to win. In an infinite game, you play to just keep playing, just enjoying the game, enjoying the sport. There's no fixed rule book. There's no final score. There's no finish line. The only thing which you have is growth, is curiosity. It's staying in motion and enjoying being in the game. It was interesting when I met a friend recently who's, I think, 63, and he told me an interesting thing. He said that I spent 35 years building a company. Now I'm learning how to cook. He wasn't trying to master cooking. He had no intent to go into Master Chef or competition or something. He was just learning to cook. He was enjoying the process of cooking to create. That, to me, is the infinite game, where the doing itself is the reward. Your enjoyment is in the process, is in being in that motion. And now, don't again get me wrong, that this doesn't mean that ambition has disappeared, but it has taken a new shape. You are now asking a different set of questions. For example, you are no more asking, what am I building? That used to be the kind of question you ask in a different phase of life. You were always keen to know, okay, have I, created a new company? Have I created a new business? Today, it is not as much about what am I building, but who am I becoming? In doing so, what you're kind of enjoying yourself and creating a new self of your own self. You're not asking, what will I leave behind? Again, because that used to be the whole legacy thing in companies, in your home, in your family. What will I leave behind? More importantly, today it is, what am I leaning into? So in many ways, this phase offers that freedom. Freedom from those numbers, from those metrics, freedom from all that scorekeeping that we kept doing all our lives. Because now, you don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore, right? You've got to that point where all that doesn't matter. Strangely, that's when the most meaningful things start to happen. When we were obsessed with scorekeeping, it was more about the number. It was less about the learning. It was less about the enjoyment. So today, if you had the space, the time, the freedom, you need to decide what kind of game do you want to play now. Is it still be a game of chasing, which you did all your life, or you're going to shift? The shift would be to then get into a game of creating, of giving, of learning, and all this on your own terms, right? Does this resonate with you? Are you going through a similar shift? Are you thinking about a similar shift? Let's talk. Please let me know through comments, your feedback. And until then, let's stay thoughtful, stay curious, and keep playing. But figure out which game you are playing. Thank you.